I'm joined by the leader of Ontario's Liberal Party, Bonnie Crombie. Ms. Crombie, you promised everyone will have a family doctor within 4 years if you're elected. How will you achieve that?
Thanks for the question. And yes, we have a 3-point plan with respect to healthcare. It's so vitally important. What I believe is getting the basics right. That's what people want. Number one, getting 2.5 million people who don't have a family doctor today, a family doctor. Number two, to really end hallway healthcare. And how we do that is, of course, by getting everyone a family doctor and investing in our hospitals, the operating costs, hiring more nurses, more PSWs. And three, ensure that mental health is included in our OHIP plan. You know, as a mom, I hear from other mothers that just eating disorders and anxiety is really up among our young people. They suffer severely from a variety of mental health issues. Suicide rates are up, and you well know that I am the daughter of someone who experienced some serious mental health and addiction issues. My dad, who spent his last days in the Seton House in Toronto and was lucky enough to get the services he needed and the counseling he needed, those wraparound services that are so vitally important. And we want to ensure that our young people have access to those wraparound services, the counseling that they need for their mental health issues as well. But my number one pledge to voters this Thursday, boy, if you want a family doctor, you're going to have to change the government. And there's only one party that's going to deliver on a family doctor, and that's the Ontario Liberal Party. So please vote Ontario Liberal on Thursday.
The demand for OHIP-covered mental health coverage will be high, I'm sure. How will you pay for it, and how will you attract enough mental health workers to fill the demand?
Yeah, so it's an important question. And when it's up to speed, it should be about $1 billion. The money exists in the system today. There are transfers from the federal government that aren't being properly utilized now. They aren't going into healthcare. They're going into general revenue. You know, from my perspective, mental health care is health care, and it's so basic and it's so fundamental. If we don't get that right, it's only going to be a bigger drag and burden on our economy.
The latest polling shows that you're currently running neck and neck in your riding of Mississauga East Cooksville. Are you concerned you may not win? And if you don't, what's next for Bonnie Crombie?
Oh my goodness. A week or 4 days is a lifetime in politics. You've seen the end of a football game, how many touchdowns are scored in the last minute of play. I will win that seat. I will be in the legislature and hopefully leading our new government, the one that will give everyone a family doctor, will lower your taxes and build housing that's affordable.
I want to get your take on some breaking news this afternoon. Donald Trump coming out and saying the 25% tariffs will in fact come into effect on March 4th, as he's promised. If you become the next premier, how are you going to respond to this?
Yes. Well, obviously, I've said from the very beginning, we need a very strong, united Team Canada approach. But what really concerns me is that Doug Ford cheered on Donald Trump. I mean, I don't understand how anyone could do that, knowing that he was going to wage a trade war against us and impose very punitive tariffs. But that said, I think Doug Ford should be at his desk working hard to protect our jobs. Particularly in Hamilton, steelworkers are at risk, but Doug Ford is only worried about his own job. I mean, like I did as mayor, I would have diversified our economy into other sectors. He put all the investment into the EV industry, and we see yesterday the Brampton Stellantis plant is going to lay off 2,200 people. So I'm very, very concerned. We needed to diversify our markets, break down interprovincial trade barriers. Jason Kenney tried to do that when he was premier, and Doug Ford was the obstacle to that. But the number one thing, of course, is local procurement. So we need to support the Hamilton steel industry. Number one, buy local, support local.
That's Ontario Liberal Party leader Bonnie Crombie. Ms. Crombie, thanks for giving us some of your time today.
Thanks for having me.